I think oftentimes people are guests on podcasts so that they can get their mission and message out to a wider audience that isn't their own, that opportunity. That in and of itself is enough. And yet you over-delivered because you were so organized and I knew exactly what to expect. And I knew exactly when to expect it. And I hosted 2 podcasts. I've guested on dozens of podcasts. And so I'm really comfortable, I believe. So if I'm a new guest on a podcast, knowing what type of environment to be in, knowing that you're going to be doing some editing, people are worried about how they're going to show up with the best of intention. And if they make a mistake or something happens, knowing that you've got their back and that there's a way in which you're going to make sure that they show up as their most authentic and yet best self, I think is really invaluable. The ease and flow of the conversation that I had with you, Beverly, was lovely. I felt comfortable. I always felt like we were watching each other in a way that afforded, and that's something that I think is incredibly important. The fact that you do a video recording as well as the audio allows me to see your face and give you the nonverbal communication that I have an interjection or that I'd like to answer your question or that I'd like to take it a different direction, which means less talking over each other or being awkward or uncomfortable. The ease and flow of the conversation, the way in which it developed, in the way in which you guided me without directing me was lovely. I was sitting here looking at the clock tick away, thinking she's going to have to divide this into part 1 or part 2, only because we seemed to have such comfortable, casual, genuine conversation. I didn't want to artificially be like, but I'm not allowed to say any more of that because we're going to be out of time. I figured that you would do the editing that you chose to do, but that, in my opinion, is the biggest sign of a comfortable, call it podcast interview, call it conversation, whatever. I never felt like I was seeking, searching, awkward, uncomfortable, don't know how to answer this, don't know where to go with this. It was all memorable. My goal is to be seen as a thought leader, a change maker, a subject matter expert in the world of authenticity. And by extension, marketing is, as I said, an extension of your voice. And so if people don't know what their voice is or are constantly hiding behind or worried about the authenticity and how it's going to be accepted or received, this allowed me to make that connection between who you are and what you do in a way that I think people will understand. It's interesting when I work with someone and they're struggling with copy, or they're struggling with their bio, or they're struggling with showing up on camera or saying things. Oftentimes it's because they're literally translating in their own head. This is what I want to say, but how do I have to say it? And then that it's going to be acceptable. And it's my goal and my wish and my want to take away that feeling of I have to translate this or I have to sugarcoat this or varnish this with something. They get to just be who they are and say what they say and attract their client. And so I think that I've been able to strengthen my brand by you helping me make that